And a big series win for the Reds means we bring in the big guns to discuss it all. Richard Skinner, digital sports columnist over on local12.com/sports. Skinny, I know you've been down on the Reds. 4 wins in a row in St. Louis. You feeling better?
I'm feeling a lot better. I mean, there's still a long way to go, but here's the thing. You've now, and it's going to be lost today because of what happened, but Wade Miley gave them another good start. That was 4 really good starts in a row by the rotation. And oh, by the way, now you got Milwaukee for 6 of the next 9 after the day off, first at home, and you get Sonny Gray back. This is how winning streaks happen. You get it back to the top of the rotation, and that guy hopefully continues. You need another good start out of Luis Castillo, but to pull off today was big just because of how much momentum you can take forward against the team in first place.
Wade Miley, obviously another, like we said, 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 8 strikeouts, no runs. Of note, Nick Castellanos snaps his 21-game hit streak, but hey, the Reds win. He is human. I'm not sure Jesse Winker is, but the Reds get the very important 4-game sweep in St. Louis, and here's David Bell after.
You have to play great to do what we did here against this team this weekend, and so many positives, to make it happen. Really happy, proud of our team and our players. So many guys came through, and obviously you just have to play really good baseball, but also just a lot of clutch performances, big pitching performances, big hits. Obviously Wink's game today, unbelievable. So just really happy. So many positives to really think about and take away from this weekend.
And just like that, the Reds have won 4 games in a row. They'll return here next week for 3 with the Brewers. Skinny, with the 4-game win streak, they're still towards the bottom of the division, but like we said before, a reason for optimism. And what more can you say about Jesse Winker?
Yeah, I mean, they're 4 games out, so, I mean, you got the Brewers coming for 3, win that series, you creep up a little bit, and you got the Rockies coming in. They're not very good, so you got a chance to make hay, and you're right. He's in the MVP conversation without question. And I'm kind of with you. I'm way, both he and Nick Castellanos are both over 1,000 OPS, which is usually really rarefied air. You get in the high 8s, you're really good. You get in the 9s, you're really, really good. You get in the thousands plus, you are in the MVP conversation. And with all the things that have happened for this team, those 2 guys, and obviously not Castellanos today because he took the over, those 2 guys have just carried them to the point of staying in this when there's a lot of things going wrong with his club at points. Kudos to Jesse Winker. Think about this franchise. You got Johnny Bench, you got Frank Robinson, you got Ted Kluszewski and his muscles from back in the day. You got Eric Davis who could hit home runs in bunches. And he did something that no Reds player's done before. That's amazing.
Let's talk a little bit about Castellanos. Obviously, Winker is going to be the headline, and we'll get back to him in a minute. But that 21-game hit streak, snapped today, he is human. He's an interesting player, I think, going forward, because as they're currently sitting, you would expect, I'm going to say the magic word here, folks, trade deadline.
Right.
It's coming.
Yeah, right.
It's coming.
No, that's fair.
He's got a shortened deal. Do you expect he will be on the block, and do you expect he might get moved?
I think it really depends on where they are come the trade deadline. I mean, they're 4 out now. You got a chance over the next week plus with the Brewers twice here and then there, and the Rockies squeezed in between, to suddenly tighten this thing up a whole lot to the point where not only maybe not sellers, are you buyers for a spot, especially in the bullpen? They do have there's an option there. They can still get him back next year on the option, but if they get to the point of being out of it, then yeah, I think you need to get some value for him. I think you need to, at that point, then identify your core guys. I know one of the core guys is that dude playing left field.
Yeah.
I don't know if he plays left field moving forward. I don't know where he plays, but at the plate, he's a core guy.
And Jesse Winker with a career day, taking home a few mementos from his 3-home-run game in St. Louis.
Definitely the jersey and the bat. I'm gonna take those home with me, and yeah, it was. I'm gonna remember this day for the rest of my life. So it was really cool. It's an honor. I'm very thankful. And like I said, I've got great guys in here, man. I love this team. I love these guys in here, and it was it's something I'll remember for my whole life.
You can see he's getting a little reflective there.
Yeah.
He understands the gravity of this moment and what he just did.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, when he was coming up through the minors, if you look at some of his power numbers, he was really not a big power guy, and that can change with maturity, age, all those things, physicality. I thought he was going to be a good high on-base percentage guy. I didn't know if he'd be a core piece. I really didn't. I was kind of down on that, other than the fact I thought he could get on base. Had a little bit of pop, but I thought, give me 12 to 15 homers and 35 doubles, and you hit at the top of the lineup, even though he's not a great, doesn't run well. I mean, he's now developing into a 35 to 40 home run guy. The one thing I hope he doesn't start thinking, and I don't think he has, because I don't, from that last 3 home run game to this one, I've not seen his approach at the plate change whatsoever. I hope he doesn't fall in love with the home run. I don't think he will. I think he's got a swing that's just a natural when he gets it, and he gets it right, it's gone. And if not, it's in the gap. And if it's not, it's a base hit. And if it's not, it's a hard out somewhere. So I hope he continues to have that mentality. I think he probably will.
And another good news for the Reds is they're streaking getting hot right now is the guy in Louisville that's going to get called up at some point here, Mr. Votto.
Maybe Tuesday.
Maybe Tuesday. He has looked fairly up and down for his rehab, as you would expect somebody who hasn't played in a while. When he comes back with how this team is playing, you got Tyler Stevenson playing some time at first base, who's looked pretty good. What is his spot on this team?
Yeah, he's the starting first baseman. I mean, he's earned that, obviously. The numbers aren't great, but they're still pretty good. He still gets on base at a pretty good clip. He wants to now become a power hitter. I don't know if he's a middle of the lineup, top of the lineup guy. I think if you can get him plugged back at, sixth in the lineup, I don't think it's going to happen because I think they realize who he is, and that name's going to go down third, fourth, or fifth somewhere, second, third, fourth, or fifth somewhere. But it gives you another quality bat somewhere in there, especially against right-handed pitching. You're going to run out Winker and Castellanos and Votto and probably soon Mike Moustakas somewhere in the middle. It's a pretty tough group to try to deal with. And then if you're looking at Suarez down the lineup starting to hit, so that lineup becomes really formidable, which, stretches this year, it was really awful, for goodness sakes.
Now, last time you were here and we were talking, we got on David Bell, and rightfully so, because the lineup, you had your 2 best guys, 1-2. They weren't producing a ton of runs. Those 2 guys were, but the rest of the lineup wasn't. He switched things around, and it seems to be working with the emergence of Jonathan India as a leadoff really guy. Good. They put Gino as a leadoff. He seemed to get out of his slump. I mean, this lineup seems to have taken a couple steps in the right direction.
Yeah, and I kudos to him for doing that. And I think that sometimes everybody gets pigeonholed of this guy needs to be the leadoff guy. At times, just take your best guys and put them where you think they should be. I just don't think those guys were 1-2 hitters in this lineup when you're wasting some of the power. Now you're getting in, and some of those guys got to get on. I mean, whether it's India or Senzel or whomever, Gino hitting leadoff, they've got to get on to set the table. And today they did. Remember, the first 2 home runs Winker hit was a leadoff single, 2-run homer. 2 guys on next time, 3-run homer. 5 RBI and 2 at bats. That's pretty good for your number 2 hole hitter. Back in the day, that was the bunter. Now he's the home run hitter. So yeah, I just think this lineup has a chance to kind of, as it starts to get more healthy, be really tough to pitch against.
Let's talk about Gino specifically, because he hasn't gone back to his MVP caliber, self, but he is hitting better. Is there a reason for optimism, or is this just a case of guy getting hot at some point in the season?
Well, I mean, I can't imagine anybody thought, myself included, he was going to be in the mid-100s for the whole year. I still don't hold out to hope he's going to get to the 250, 260 mark. He would have to catch lightning in a bottle, I think, to do that. But you get me back to 230 with 30 to 35 homers, and it's funny, he's on pace for 100 runs, and he's just shy of on pace for 100 RBI, despite the mess he's been at the plate for the most part. That ain't bad.
Now, the bullpen, obviously, Reds fans, if you have problems with the bullpen and, it's a trigger for you, tune out because we're going to talk about the bullpen. Today, they almost blew it. TJ Antone comes in, did the best with what he could, almost got him out of it. Lucas Sims comes, got in a little bit of trouble, was able to slam the door. How concerning should we be with this? Those 2 arms we think are pretty good. Yep. But it's going to get to a point where they're going to get overused. Yeah,
very concerned. That's the point, and I think that's the hard part. Is Antone 3. And look, you got to go win those games, and they were in every game to try to win. And if I'm high leverage, TJ Antone's the first guy I call, and if I could do it, he'd be the second, third, and fourth guy I would call. So I do understand that part of it. But you're right. And you got to have somebody else start to produce out of that bullpen. I don't know if it's somebody from outside this organization, if it's Amir Garrett getting himself right, if it's more consistency from a Lucas Sims. Yeah, he wriggled off the hook in the 9th, and good for him, and he got the job done when he had to. But he also put himself in a pretty big jam with 2 hits and 2 at bats. So there are a couple guys. Sims is one of them. Garrett's another. I hold out hope that they go back to the normal form. If they do, then we're probably not worrying as much. But if not, you keep running the Perez's and the Felizes and the Felizes and the Perez's, and you name them all that end with a Z, it's not ending well right now.
David Bell didn't want to have to turn to his 2 best guys in the back of the bullpen today, but he did, and they came up big in the end.
Both those guys were available. Obviously, if you have a way to win a game and not have to use those guys, that would have been a plus. With the off day tomorrow, but playing in these games, you got to do what you got to do, and they were both available. And you're right. TJ, he came in right there and almost got out of that thing. And he continues to throw the ball well. And then what Lucas did, That's unbelievable. With his stuff and ability to, his back against the wall right there, ability to throw strikes, and the stuff is just it's pretty fun to watch.
So now with that win, the Reds going forward have a chance to make some noise against the division-leading Brewers. They got a 3-game stretch here, and then, like you said before, then Colorado comes in, a team they kind of struggled with in Colorado, but they're still not a very good ball club.
Yeah, no, they're not very good. And the thing is that the Reds miss Burns in the rotation from Milwaukee here too, so that's a good thing. So it sets up pretty well, and this is how you start to get win streaks going. You win some games that are on the hook, 50-50 games, and then you turn over and go, wait a minute, I've got a good starter. And I was talking about the guys with the Z's. The one guy with the Z that's pitching the second game of the series, Gutierrez, he's actually been pretty good. So not all the Z's have been bad.
And hopefully he'll continue to be good because the Brewers, again, leading the division. Richard Skinner here. A little bit of optimism for the Reds?
A little bit.
Inching towards the Reds?
A little bit. We'll see what goes on in the Milwaukee series, bro.
Skinny's happy with the Reds, at least for right now.